If you're checking this out, it's probably because you're trying to scale a multifamily portfolio. Well, listen, today we sit down with Ari Rastegar, and Ari is the man behind a multi-billion-dollar portfolio, and he gives the secrets to find success for you and your own portfolio. Listen, if you want to scale, it's not underwriting more deals. It's not some of the things that you may think you need to do. He's going to share what it really takes to get over the top and how to focus on the right activity. If you want to grow and scale your real estate portfolio, make sure you check out this conversation right here on Multifamily Insights. Now, Forbes calls him the Oracle of Austin in real estate. Ari Rastegar is the founder of Rastegar Capital, a multi-billion-dollar real estate investment firm he launched with just $3,500 student loans. Now, today, he is widely recognized for identifying market opportunities ahead of the curve and transforming underutilized assets into thriving community-driven developments. Let's welcome to the show, Ari Rastegar.
John, thanks for having me, buddy.
Absolutely, man. Listen, you have an incredible background. Why don't you take 1 minute and fill in some of the gaps that I read on your bio?
Sure. I'm an attorney by trade. I was an English major in undergrad, so I didn't really have a business background, per se. But look, my dad was an Iranian immigrant, raised me as a single dad. I put myself through 2 community colleges before, getting through law school. So I'm just a regular dude, you know what I mean? And I think that's important to note, that are people that are out there going to do this thing, that it's definitely possible and you can get it done. You might not sleep very much, and you might have to put in the pain and the suffering and get some gray hair, but it can get done. Our investors are public pension funds, insurance companies, huge investment groups out of New York, in addition to hundreds and hundreds of accredited investors as well. We invested, successfully in 38 cities, 13 states, 7 different asset classes. And our focus is really around zoning and entitlement and changing the use of things. If you build all the multifamily assets that we could build, meaning on the hundreds of acres we own, and need to raise more capital, et cetera, which is fine. It's, over 3,000 multis just in what we own. Forget about what we're buying and building and what's under production at the moment. So happy to be here with you. And hopefully we can give some value to your listeners, so we create the next generation of real estate moguls.
I love it, man. You talked about your background, man, growing up with Iranian dad, going to 2 community colleges before finally figuring things out and ultimately building up this huge portfolio where you focus on raising capital, identifying development deals, working with both institutional capital partners as well as private equity, and being able to go out there and do these deals. I want to rewind the clock back. If you can put your hat on there,
Sure.
right? Many of our listeners are trying to figure out how to scale, right? So it's great to hear the multi-billion-dollar story, but they're sitting there like, dude, I'm just trying to figure out how to get from this first deal or second deal to the next deal. How did you start to get some traction in the business? Like, what were some of the things that you were able to do to get over the hump and get that momentum going?
It's all about relationships. This business is a relationship business. Real estate is about people, period. Hard stop. So if you haven't scaled yet and you're already in the game, it's that you need to put yourself out there more and get in the room with the people that can help you scale, whether that's brokers that are going to bring you deals, whether that's, capital relationships from family offices, financial advisors. It's a function of deals and capital, and that comes through relationships. So building the business when you've already started, and just focus and beating your head against the wall. There's only so many times you can review that spreadsheet. There's only so many ways that you can upgrade the kitchen and the unit you have and beat up your tenants to get more rent. It's about putting yourself out there and putting yourself in the flow of capital. And that all starts with people.
So let's talk about that, right? So you talk about really, and I think about it the same way, right? There's deals and there's capital, and it's really just marrying the two together. That's this business at its core. We get really complicated with everything else, but it really comes down to those 2 parts, right? For those people who are a little bit newer, maybe don't have that long track record, I know in the past, call it 10 years, maybe especially the last 5 years, it's been hard to stand out, right? It's been harder when you have these proven investors who are coming in, going hard money day one. That's been hard. The environment's changing though, right?
It's hard and it's not, so it's look, what's wrong is always available. So is what's right. And what's right now is you have these digital platforms where you can go out and use social media, use your own voice, use your podcast. Like it's never about resources, John. It is always about being more resourceful. period. And there's never been a time to amplify your message easier than it is today, period. And YouTube has done that. Social media has done that. Getting lists of investors through databases, doing emails, calls, emailing them, doing a Loom, doing, like the old cold call regime. There's so many ways to go out there and build those relationships, and not doing it and saying it's hard and saying it's whatever is really bullshit. And meaning those that want to make, I'm a nobody from nowhere, buddy. At the beginning, before the advent of all this social media and all these things happening, I got a list of financial advisors and I was making 400 calls a day to financial advisors for months and months and months until I got 50 million on one cold call. So the money is there, the deals are there, but it's not going to come to you. You got to go out there and put in more is more. More is more. And so yes, the economic climate is very difficult. We're all enduring it at a very high level. Interest rates, global pandemics, market corrections. But with that said, that's when the biggest opportunities are. But going there and not creating inertia in a way that is so unreasonable that it would be unreasonable for you to fail.
You gave a lot of great stuff there. First of all, it's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. I absolutely love
Yes.
that. I think it's a great way to frame up the mindset. And it gets into the next piece, right? You talk about making 300 to 400 calls a day.
Yes.
And this is really where I think
this is before dialing softwares, this is me and my best
you
friend.
actually dialing.
Me dialing on a phone, no CRM, no. And so if you have the luxury of those things, go put yourself out there in an unreasonable way.
Talk about that drive, man. Talk about that drive, because I think that's the part
I can't teach hunger. I can't teach hunger, John. I can't teach hunger. If either you're hungry or you're not. You know what I mean? And the drive, God gave me, I'm not Mother Teresa, but my life is a blessing, and I'm going to use every moment of my life to contribute, to go out there to give, to push myself harder, because I am my most important asset. And I know maybe this call was meant to be about spreadsheets and cap rates, in equity, but you told me, what does it take to scale? That's what you said to me offline. I got a couple guys on here, ladies on here that have bought a couple things, but they want to scale. The scaling comes between your ears. It is the mindset. It is that thing. I recommend everybody go buy the book Relentless, written by Tim Grover. I see the basketballs in the background.
Yep.
Tim Grover was Michael Jordan's personal trainer. And when he went to retire, Michael Jordan's gift to Kobe Bryant was his personal trainer, Tim Grover. And that book is about, only the few people that he really trained closely. One is the legendary Charles Barkley. One is Dwayne Wade. One is Kobe Bryant. One is Michael Jordan. And he explains in there what it takes to be what he calls a cleaner, which is that level of, there's coolers, there's closers, and then there's cleaners. And to scale a business in one of the most competitive businesses, when real dollars are at bay, when you're dealing with sharks and predators, and some of the smartest, most competitive people on the earth, you have to be able to push yourself to a place psychologically that is way beyond the numbers in the spreadsheet. Because I'll tell you what, the Egyptians built the pyramids. The math ain't that simple. I'm building an apartment complex, if you know what I mean. But that relentless drive that it takes to overcome rejection, to overcome shame, to overcome embarrassment, to be laughed at by your peers, to be called stupid and unrealistic by family members, by the people that are closest to you. That ain't for the faint of heart, bud. Like that might not be about multifamily, but it is about the mindset and the mentality that it takes to go from 2 doors to 20,000 doors. Because to endure that level of pain is a psychological game. It is not about numbers on a spreadsheet. Absolutely zero.
How does one develop that? If you're someone who doesn't have that right now, how do you develop that hunger?
Well, I think I wasn't born 6'9", if you know what I mean. There have been people that are 5'9" like me that have been the NBA, but there's a certain amount of thing that you're born with. Okay. Does that mean if you're 6'9", you can, ball like LeBron? No. But there's certain characteristics that you can evolve and improve. And I can go play basketball every single day and I can improve my skills and be whatever, but there's a certain amount of traits. And I'm not being dismal about that, but I'm just saying there's a certain amount of, if you have that inside of you to go through this, that whether you've cultivated and grown it and practiced it. Look, to be shredded, you got to go to the gym, not one time, two times, hundreds and hundreds of times, and get your protein in and mobility, all the things that need to go into this thing, because it is a practice. It is training to do that mentally. And I've used, a comprehensive meditation practices. I'm actually going on Friday to a 4-day meditation retreat with Dr. Joe Dispenza in San Diego, to an advanced meditation retreat to work on my internal work, so that I can manage stress physiologically at a much higher level. That, the work that I do with exercise, with nutrition, with health and wellness, to keep my actual energy levels up there. Because you just talking to me for a few minutes, you don't need to ask me whether or not I'm in it. I'm in it. You know what I mean? Like, and this is a constant daily price that must be paid. And that price every day varies. Sometimes it's more, sometimes you don't feel good, sometimes, but there is a constant, never ending improvement of you as a human being that translates into the business. That is the difference. The people that scale themselves, scale their family, scale their business, scale their body, scale whatever they're focused on to levels of greatness. It's always a mental game that's in between the years. And it's always about, so if you can't necessarily control today how much capital you have to buy your next complex, you damn sure can strap up your shoes and go for a run, or you can control what's going into your mouth, and you can cut out sugars, or you can consume great content from the smartest people in the world to fill your mental arsenal. You can read, shareholder letters from Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos or Barry Sternlicht from Starwood. You can choose to be more resourceful. And there's something miraculous that happens, that when you focus on the things that you can control, I believe that opportunities just miraculously start to unfold, because the harder you work, the luckier you get. And this is a law of the universe.
I absolutely love it. We are talking to Ari Rastegar, and I can't wait to get to our lightning round, man. We have our lightning round of questions, which is our return of insights, ROI, man. And when we get to it, I've got a couple questions I can't wait to ask you. But before we get there, I want to ask about the capital side of it, right? We talked about the hunger, getting out there, making these calls. You talked about being able to raise some institutional capital, and I know a lot of folks are looking to make that transition. I imagine it's the same kind of hunger, but talk to us about what it takes to stand out with institutional players as opposed to retail investors.
Yeah, well, institutional capital is about structure, is about risk control, is about a disciplined investment strategy. It's about your team. It's about your track record. So the institutional side is about systems and processes, some very technical things. Okay. Retail, if you have good marketing, you have some passion, you have some ingenuity, you can convince some retail folks to come along with you. And you do the right work, you make the money, they're going to tell their friends, and how the sausage was made might not be totally in their purview. But if you deliver, you make good returns, you communicate effectively, you have transparent reporting, and you make people money, you're going to get more retail investors. Institutions don't work that way. Institution, you can have the best deal on the planet. They're not giving you a dime unless you have audited financials, unless you have the right bench, until you've done a certain amount of deals in that area, until you fit a certain boxes that their investment committee can understand.
Yeah, I think it's important because I know so many people want to make that transition, but don't understand what it entails. You talked about audited financials, understanding the systems and processes. There's a lot of
audited financials is a huge one, because if you can say that you've done this and having an audited track record, and of what you've done, what you've shown, where you can bring those documents. And so you get in the meeting, right? So, ingenuity, for an institution, will get you in the room. But your risk controls, your financials, your track record, your systems, your processes is what's going to determine whether or not you can stay in the room.
There you go. I think it's really helpful. I appreciate you sharing that. Talk about how you're seeing development in this environment, right? Interest rates have spiked up. They've gone to come down a little bit
Extremely
here. So
difficult.
what are you seeing?
Extremely difficult. Extremely difficult because cost of capital, I'll give you an example. So if you're building $100 million development, or $100 million the debt piece, just to keep the math simple. If rates were 4% and you've put out the whole 100 million, you're paying $4 million a year in interest, right? Well, when interest rates go up 500 basis points, that same $100 million loan is 9%. So you're paying $9 million a year in interest when it was 4. Over 3 years of development, that's a $15 million additional cost, which makes some of these deals not pencil. Which means that there is longer timelines. If you have debt on your land, it's more expensive, meaning you're dealing with the psychology of your investors and explaining to them the things that are going on. And a lot aren't going to be, understand or be reasonable, or they have their own objectives and their own timelines and things that you talk to them about. Because, it's so much of this, like if you take sports as such an easy analogy, look at the scrutiny that, LeBron has endured during these years with media, with attention, with things. So it's not just the basketball that makes you great. It's how you endure all the other things that come along with it as well. How you overcome injuries, how you overcome scrutiny, how you overcome criticism and family issue and all these other things. Michael Jordan's dad got murdered, in the middle of, at the peak of his career, and he took time off. He regrets it to this day. So it's the intangibles of what happens off the court determines so much of how you perform on the court. And it's mission critical to understand that when you play this game at the highest level.
I appreciate you sharing that. Let's talk about this level right now and the opportunities for those investors looking to scale in this environment. If you could go back to a younger self and you were starting in this world, ready to scale, where would you focus? Like, where's the opportunity that you think is a
Artificial
great opportunity today?
intelligence. Artificial
AI.
intelligence.
All right, talk about
Using
it.
AI to find deals for you, do analysis for you, even just as much as using Chat GPT, getting financing models off the internet, using all these free resources, running them through your AI agent, asking questions, having it flood you with research on markets, or how they're growing, inflation rates, where banks are lending, what deals are going to foreclosure, showing up to foreclosure auctions and seeing how things are working and getting yourself out there. This game is, you got to be on the field. Real estate is my grandfather used to say in Farsi, if you pray for the rain, you got to deal with the mud.
I love that, man. That's a great
And
quote.
this is a time where we have prayed for the rain and there was mud, there was blood in the streets. And if you're not willing to put on those work boots, not willing to get out, this ain't going to happen just sitting in the house. This ain't going to happen. You got to be on site. Real estate is an on site business. Go out, visit properties, go to development sites, meet contractors, shake hands. Take people for a coffee, really, and then you're going to spend a bunch of money and take them to a 5-star dinner and order a $500 bottle of wine. But show up to a construction site. Go meet someone. Hey, my name's, whatever. I'm, whatever. I own a couple things across the street. Go do it. That's how it happens. Go do it. It ain't sexy. It's not, some unique strategy you're going to buy from someone selling you on the internet. Plain and simple, the tried and true rules have always worked. In fact, they work better because everyone's trying to talk to you through a damn phone. And the people that got money are 65 years and above, and they want to see you in person. They want to shake your hand. They want to talk with you. They want to share a meal. They want to have just eat a burger and fries and learn about your family. And that doesn't happen over Zoom. That happens in person, period.
Great stuff, Ari. I mean, listen, guys, he's given us a master class. You're breaking this down, right? You're talking about using AI to do the legwork, right? Let AI do the legwork, the analysis, and all that data collection, but you still got to hit the streets. You got to get out there.
If
You got to meet
you
people
want to be in
face to
real
face.
estate,
It's
you got to
about
be on the street.
relationships. Yeah.
Every day, if you are in real estate, you need to go show up at a contractor's office. You need to go to the broker's offices. You need to drop off some donuts. They need to see you in person. Right now, the markets suck. No one's fucking busy. So get off your ass and go meet every multifamily broker. Go on the internet and say, who is a JLL, a Newmark, Eastdil, whatever your local places are that sell multifamily. Get all their names. Connect with them on LinkedIn. Then show up to their office with donuts. $5. Hey, how you doing? Is Jim here? Oh, he's not here. I just want to drop it off. I just left a quick little note. My name's Billy. My name's Jane. I'd like to see if whatever. And do that 2, 3, 400 times. You're going to scale up like a motherfucker quicker than you can think. But you got to go do the work.
Great stuff, Ari. I mean, listen, it's all about building those relationships, getting out there and not being afraid. And you've got that sales mentality. And I think a lot of folks, unfortunately, don't, right? They don't come from a sales mindset.
Everything is sales, John.
Yeah.
You sell yourself. The clothes you're wearing right now, those glasses that you're wearing, those pretty glasses, that's saying something about you. The way you manicure your beard, that's saying something about you. That polo shirt you're wearing says something about you. That background that you have says something about you. Everyone is in sales, whether they like it or not.
I love it, man. Ari, for that individual, how do they flip that switch to recognize it? Because I think one of the reasons people come to real estate for, is particularly like trying to get into multifamily, is they're leaving that W-2 job. They're leaving maybe golden handcuffs and they want to transition to something else.
I can't help you with that, John. That's one that I can't help you with. I can't help you. I can tell you the things that I've learned, and it's just my opinions. And you know what they say about opinions, everyone's got them. But I can't do that. I can't lift the weight for you to do the clip.
Tell us your opinion there.
I can't lift the weight for you to do the curl. I can tell you to go to the gym, but I can't make you get off the thing. I can't tell you how to do that part. It's about your why. If you don't have a why and you don't have a purpose, none of this is going to work. You got to have something that's bigger than you. It has to be to contribute. It has to be to grow. And it has to be from me to we. And if you don't got that, nothing in the world, no class, no anything's going to help you. It's just another way of procrastinating, another way of just delaying the inevitable. And so, no, I can't help you with that.
But Ari, that is helping, because what you're getting at, again, it's not the underwriting, it's not the numbers, it's not this other stuff and these excuses that people make. It's the hustle. It's all the stuff you talked about. It's getting in front of people. It's just working harder. It's making more calls than the next guy's willing to make. And that's what it takes. So it's not necessarily having a sales background. It doesn't matter what industry you come from. You have to recognize it takes what it takes. And
go
you have
get
to be willing to work hard and go get it. So I appreciate
go
that. I think that's something that a lot of people don't know and don't think about.
Go get them.
Yeah.
And just be relentless. Absolutely relentless.
And Ari, you're in Austin, right? I know Austin is one of those markets that have seen rents decline over the last couple of years. How has that impacted kind of the way you approach the business?
It's pain. It's painful. It's pain. The people that can endure the longest become the richest.
Yeah.
They're very painful. Everything takes longer. Everything costs more. You're working out loans. You're getting extensions. You're working on what you can. And what we've worked on that's been incredibly beneficial is taking the time to get all of our zoning, our entitlement work, our permitting, our architecture on hundreds and hundreds of acres. And built a bunch of stuff, refinance the stuff we can, lease the stuff we can, built a huge industrial complex, office building, great. But the bulk of it that we thought would be developed and completed by now are years behind because of the market conditions and other reasons. So we focus on getting shovel ready on everything we can. So the minute that the things that are uncontrollable become in our purview, and I think in May, rates are going to come down big time for a variety of reasons. Doesn't matter why here, but if they come down, when they come down 150 basis points, we're going to pull $5 billion out of the ground so quickly that people's heads are going to spin.
I love it. All right. What is the best way for people to reach out if they want to get in touch with you or your team?
Sure. You can find us on all the social media stuff. Our team really works hard to put out great stuff. You can read my book, which is called The Gift of Failure. You can buy it on Amazon. You can listen to it on Spotify, on Audible, at Rastegar on Instagram, at Rastegar Property on Instagram. You can look us up, rastegarcapital.com. You'll put all this in your notes, I'm sure. But you can look up my name, look up our company, and you can find us pretty easily. Reach out. We have great people that love what they do, and your call will be answered by a human being. And if we can help you, we will.
I love it. We're going to go to our round of insights. When you think you found a great deal, asking the right questions could be the difference in finding a stud or a dud. Listen, we've put together a new guide to help you out. It's called 7 Questions You Must Ask Before Investing in Apartments. Now, in this guide, you're going to learn how to uncover red flags, quickly identify underwriting risk, vet sponsors and team members, and confirm key assumptions. Now, this is a guide that's going to help you be a better investor, whether you're an active investor or you're a passive investor looking to partner with other operators. Asking better questions is the key to identifying great opportunities. So download this free guide, go to our website, casmancapital.com/7questions. That's the number 7 questions. And you can access this free guide today. To make it easy on you though, we've put a link in our show notes. So you go to the show notes, you can click that link and access the guide right now. This guide's going to help you make better investment choices, asking the right questions to build your portfolio. So be sure to download it today. All right, you talked about your book. Give us a failure or an apparent failure that set you up for later success.
Yeah, health. Just not taking health very seriously and really hitting a wall and being riddled with, anxiety and, just feeling like shit, man. And then taking health extremely seriously and managing my blood like I manage my balance sheet and treating me as the investment was probably the best thing I ever did in my life.
Give me a digital or mobile resource you recommend for our listeners.
ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I use it 10 times a day. Pay for the subscription, I don't know what it is now, $30 a month. Be the best $30 you ever spent. Use it as an advisor. It's not the end all be all. It's just another sounding board. Run things through it and everything. Ask it some questions. And if you're smart, you'll take that response and run it through Grok or run it through Gemini. And it's like having just a board of advisors. And you don't listen to everything they say, but it's just more insight, more stuff, and don't be shy.
Give me the book you've recommended or gifted the most in the last year.
Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill is always my go-to. My dad gave it to me when I was 13 years old. But for those that are on this call, I would recommend the book I told you before is Relentless by Tim Grover. His second book is called Winning. And in that will really encapsulate what the greatest achievers have done to scale and go through the places and get to the places and work through those dark nights of the soul, because that's what it is when you're scaling, the growing pains that go along with it and getting your mental game right.
Give me a daily habit that helps you stay focused on your goals.
Meditation. Relentless amounts of meditation, hours sometimes a day. I wake up in the middle of
meditation
10 years ago.
Okay. I appreciate that. We talked a lot about scaling. You talked about being relentless. Give us your number one strategy for staying relentless on your goals.
Keeping them in front of you. Even right now, we're sitting here talking, my daughter, this is her little book. And I think about her, her and her curiosity. And I write my goals every single day. I literally rewrite by hand in my daughter's notebook. She's in kindergarten, my youngest daughter. And I think about her, the love I have for her, how precious she is to me. And I go with that playful, loving heart set. And then I rewrite by hand every one of my goals every single day in the middle of the night. I wake up in the middle of the night, 2:00 in the morning. I do a little bit of mobility. I drink a green smoothie, nothing too, kind of slow and whatever. And I do a light meditation, 15, 20 minutes. And then I write out my goals and then I go back to sleep.
I love it. All right, let's lighten the mood. You are in Austin. Give us your favorite place to grab a bite to eat.
Man, I would go to Chewy's. Chewy's I've been going to with my dad since I was a little kid. It's an Austin staple. And you can get incredible breakfast tacos, great Tex-Mex. And, I'm sure there are places I'm sure people will say are better or worse. But for me, I've been going there since I was born. And I still go to the same one, from time to time. And reminds me where I came from. And still, it's good to get some good enchiladas.
Ari, I appreciate it, man. You gave us a lot of great insight. One, just appreciate your energy, man. From the first time we opened this up, man, energy is there. I get why you talk about that hustle, the relentlessness, and just making sure that you're taking action. It's the massive action continually that's going to ultimately get you those results. And it's a reminder for a lot of our listeners, there really are no shortcuts. You got to be willing to put in the work, and that's just what it takes. It's not some secret sauce or some code. It's a lot of hustle and a lot of consistency.
I'll tell you one thing.
Right?
You remind me of one thing. You asked me before, and it's been bothering me. So just said, what can we do to get someone over that hump or get them off the couch or get them? There is one thing. that I've thought about since I gave you that answer. Um, Immersion, full immersion. So if you really are sitting here truly, and I think most people with that have it or they don't, but there is a fine line of people that truly, honestly don't know what the next step is and they do want it and they do feel a little bit of loss. For that few minority of people that are listening, those special, gifted, savages that are there, there is something you can do. You can go attend a Tony Robbins in-person live seminar. I recommend the first one being Unleash the Power Within. It's 3 days. I do it once a year still. So now I do them virtually, but it's a 3 day seminar, 3.5 days, 10, 15,000 people in a room, jumping up, going through all the psychology of what could be holding your back, your limiting beliefs. And that can unlock, if you play full out, something inside of you, another gear that you never knew existed. And then the other one is to attend a 7 day meditation retreat with Dr. Joe Dispenza. And I think that if you truly, and there, look, it costs some money, you're making an investment, but we're talking about a couple $1,000. And if you already own some properties and doing whatever, you have a couple $1,000, sitting around. Or put it on a credit card. It's an investment. And so between those two things, I would tell you, I could guarantee you with whatever level of guarantee that there is in this world, and there really are no guarantees, is that if you attend a Tony Robbins seminar, a 4 day seminar, and you attended a 7 day Dr. Joe meditation retreat, so that's 10 days out of 365 days within 1 year, and you did both, you will reach out to you and say that was the greatest thing you ever did in your entire life.
I love it, Ari, man. That's great feedback there. The one other thing similar to that, when you talk about immersion, I know a lot of folks do that have success. They create that environment. You talked
That's
about
right.
your goals being right behind you, putting those goals, vision boards, like you got to create it where you see it
I
everywhere.
have a dream
Create the
lab
environment for that.
downstairs.
Yeah,
Downstairs, I have an entire room that the entire room is vision boards. The entire room, the ceiling, sides, everything. And I've, changed them. I sit in there, I meditate in there, I look at them, I pray in there. I have pictures of my mentors, both fictional and alive and dead, that are on the walls. I look at them, I pray for them, I think about what they would think about. I ask them questions in my mind. And I've been doing this for almost 20 years.
I love it, man. That's very helpful. Ari, we appreciate you being a great guest and coming on Multifamily Insights and sharing so many great insights for us today. We look forward to staying in touch with you and I hope you have a great day.